Some structures just defy time, don't they? Monuments of such incredible genius that they almost seem impossible. Well, today we're diving into one of the absolute titans of Roman engineering, the Pont du Gard.
Just look at this thing. It spans the Gardon River in southern France, and it's not just a bridge, it's an absolute masterpiece that has dominated this valley for centuries. But its beauty? That's only half the story. To really get its genius, we have to look at the numbers. And trust me, they're wild. First up, its age. It was built in the 1st century AD. That means it's been standing strong for nearly 2,000 years. Think of everything that's happened since then. Empires have risen and fallen, and this thing is still here. And it's not just old, it's huge. We're looking at 49 meters. That's about 160 feet tall, which made it one of the tallest aqueduct bridges the Romans ever built. But, the way they built it is what's truly astonishing. This entire colossal structure was put together with perfectly cut stones, some of them weighing up to 6 tons. But here's the kicker, the part that just blows my mind. They're held in place by nothing more than precision and gravity. No mortar at all. So you have to be asking, right? Why go to all this trouble? Why build something so massive, so complicated, seemingly out here in the middle of nowhere? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. It all comes down to a very thirsty city. Back in the day, the Roman city of Nîmes, which we now call Nîmes, was a bustling hub with 50,000 people. And a city that big needs water, a lot of water. For their grand fountains, all those famous public baths, and for people's homes. The local wells and rivers just weren't going to cut it. So the Romans found a perfect water source, a spring near modern-day Uzès. The only problem? Getting that water to Nîmes. A straight line is only about 20 kilometers, but there was a whole range of rugged hills right in the way. With the technology they had, tunneling through was a total no-go. So what did they do? They designed a brilliant, winding 50-kilometer channel that just snaked its way around the landscape. And this is where the real genius comes in. It all boils down to one critical factor, the gradient. See, to make water flow across 50 kilometers using nothing but gravity, you need a very precise, very gentle, and absolutely continuous slope. If it's too steep, the water will just erode the channel. Too shallow, and it won't flow at all. It had to be perfect. And the precision they achieved is just... well, it's almost unbelievable. Over that entire 50-kilometer journey, the aqueduct drops only 17 meters in total. That works out to an average gradient of just 1 centimeter of fall for every 182 meters it travels forward. That is an absolutely insane level of accuracy for the 1st century. And this brings us right back to the miracle of the Pont du Gard itself. To cross that huge gap over the Gardon River while maintaining that perfect, tiny gradient, well, they needed an ingenious solution. And their solution was this incredible 3-tiered system of arches. You've got the lower level with 6 massive arches, giving it a rock-solid foundation. Then the middle tier has 11 arches. And way up at the top, the level that actually carries the water, you've got 35 smaller arches stretching 275 meters clear across the valley. The way they built it was just as clever. You see those blocks sticking out from the stonework? Those weren't for decoration. They were actually supports for the massive wooden scaffolding and cranes they used to hoist those giant stones into place. The water itself flowed through a covered channel called a specus that ran right along the very top. Now let's talk about the sheer scale of this project, because it's staggering. Over 50,000 tons of limestone, 1,000 workers toiling away for about 15 years. And the cost? It was the equivalent of paying an entire 500-man Roman legion for 50 years. This wasn't just a project, this was a colossal investment in the city's future. And here's a peek inside that water channel. The Romans lined it with a special waterproof mortar, a mix of lime, pork grease, and fig juice, believe it or not, to keep it smooth. But the local water was really high in minerals, which would build up and clog the channel. So they had a team of workers called circuitores, whose whole job was to constantly crawl through the aqueduct and scrub the walls clean. So what happens after the Roman Empire falls? Well, the aqueducts eventually went out of use. And for most structures, that would have been the end of the story. But the Pont du Gard, it's different. Its story was really just getting started. Its journey through time is just incredible. After it fell into disuse in the 6th century, the thing that saved it was when it was repurposed as a toll bridge in the Middle Ages. Yep, because people had to pay to cross it, the local lords actually had a reason to maintain it. It went through centuries of damage and some major restorations, but it finally became the protected UNESCO World Heritage Site that we know and love today.
This comparison really tells the story, doesn't it? On the left, there's an engraving from the early 1800s, and you can see it's in really bad shape. There are stones missing, and it's at real risk of collapse. And on the right, you see the magnificent monument we have today, saved in large part by a huge restoration project under Napoleon III in the 1850s. But you know, the Pont du Gard is so much more than just stone and water. It's an icon. It has captivated people for centuries as a symbol of a lost, monumental world.
The philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau just perfectly captured this feeling of awe when he visited way back in 1738. He said he felt like an insect in its presence, and it filled him with so much admiration that he wished he'd been born a Roman. This bridge doesn't just impress you, it humbles you.
That sense of awe made it a huge icon of French national pride. Artists, writers, even kings like Louis XVI, who commissioned this very painting, wanted to be associated with its Roman grandeur. It became a symbol not just of ancient power, but of enduring greatness. And all this leaves us with one final thought. The Pont du Gard is a statement about purpose, about permanence, about vision. It was built to last, and it has. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What are we building today that will still be standing, still inspiring awe, 2 millennia from now?